Imagine a Britain where your words could get you into trouble not for hurting anyone, but simply for speaking your mind, where a casual post online, a classroom discussion, or even a dinner table conversation could draw the attention of authorities or the public. Sounds extreme? Well, it's happening. And today, we'll uncover the forces at work. But stick around later. We'll reveal a massive, powerful indicator that the British people are reclaiming their centuries-old right to speak freely. Before we dive in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future updates on this important topic. Britain has a long and proud history of valuing free speech, from fiery 17th century pamphleteers to the revolutionary debates in Parliament. Ordinary people have always understood that the ability to speak freely is essential to progress. It's not just politics, it's culture, education, art, and science that thrive when ideas are exchanged openly. The very foundations of democracy were built on this principle. Writers, thinkers, reformers, and everyday citizens challenged authority, questioned norms, and sparked conversations that shaped history. Free speech has always been more than a legal right. It's been the lifeblood of a thriving society. Fast forward to today, and the landscape is shifting. Laws like the Online Safety Act, social media regulations, and certain university guidelines are raising concerns that ordinary citizens may face consequences for expressing their thoughts. Even subtle pressures, fear of public backlash, social cancellation, or online shaming can cause people to self-censor. These threats aren't always overt. They're often quiet, creeping, and almost invisible, but their effect is profound. When citizens start to self-censor, the very conversations that allow society to innovate and improve begin to fade. Free speech isn't just about politics. It's about art, science, and culture. When people feel safe to speak their minds, creativity flourishes, innovation accelerates. Communities grow stronger. When speech is restricted, society stagnates, ideas shrink, curiosity is stifled, and culture suffers. Every time a writer is silenced, a teacher discouraged, or a student told what they cannot discuss, society experiences a quiet but real loss. Protecting speech protects progress. Protecting speech protects culture. Protecting speech protects the very spirit of a nation. On September 13th, 2025, up to 1 million ordinary Britons gathered in London for a free speech rally, not as politicians, not as radicals, but as parents, teachers, shopkeepers, and students. They came to remind the world and themselves that freedom of expression is not a privilege granted by authorities. It belongs to the people. The rally was peaceful, vibrant, and united. Signs read, "Free speech for all, say what you think, and no to censorship." Families, students, and retirees all came together in a shared declaration. Britain's heritage of free speech is alive, and the people will defend it. This wasn't just a protest, it was a celebration of a principle that has guided Britain for centuries. It showed the power of ordinary people, asserting that culture, creativity, and dialogue belong to the community, not to the elites or the bureaucracies that sometimes try to control discourse. The forces shaping modern speech are not always obvious. Algorithms control visibility online, bureaucracies define what is acceptable to discuss, and some laws intended to protect citizens risk veering into restriction. There are whispers of agendas that prefer silence over debate, control over community, and compliance over creativity. But history reminds us, ordinary people are the ultimate guardians of freedom. When they speak, gather, and challenge the narrative, they hold the balance of power. The rally was proof that when citizens unite, they can influence culture and legislation alike. The fight for free speech is ongoing, and it is far from simple. There will be setbacks, debates, and challenges. But the very act of speaking, of gathering, and of insisting on the right to be heard is itself a powerful declaration. Britain's people are reclaiming their voice. Every conversation, every post, every discussion is part of this movement. Every citizen who refuses to self-censor strengthens the tradition of free expression. And as we've seen, the spirit of Britain's people is unbroken, vibrant, and ready to take back the freedom that is theirs by birthright. The massive turnout on September 13th was not just symbolic. It was a concrete indicator that the British people are awakening to their sovereignty over speech. It signals that the centuries-old heritage of debate, dialogue, and free expression is alive, and that the people are taking charge of their culture, their laws, and their future. Free speech is more than words. It is the heartbeat of society. And, as ordinary Britons continue to raise their voices, Britain's centuries-old tradition of freedom of expression remains strong. It is a reminder that power belongs not to those who try to control speech, but to the people who insist on using it. If you value freedom of expression and want to stay informed, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe for more insights. Together, the British people and people everywhere can ensure that the right to speak freely never dies.